Good morning, honorable guests, distinguished speakers, participants, ladies and gentlemen. It is with the greatest pleasure that I would like to thank the organizer of the second International Plantation Conference, IPC 2021, for inviting me to deliver my keynote address for this year's conference with the theme, A Sustainable Approach for Diversifying Livelihood and Environment in Plantation Industry. When I was initially approached by the organizer, the plan was to have this event in Malacca. However, with the COVID-19 pandemic, which has not showed any sign of slowing down, not only in Malaysia but as well in the rest part of the world, we need to adjust to this new norm, utilizing digital and international technologies. There is an old saying that there is a good in every evil. The COVID-19 pandemic has seriously impacted the community and has affected the economic performance of this country. But it has also shown that the virus simply does not choose. We are the same regardless of religion, culture and customs, whether we are rich or poor. The pandemic has also exposed some vulnerabilities in our agricultural and global food system, a system which was based on modern roots, which has been developed over the decades, have in a matter of weeks come under unprecedented pressure and has had to adjust rapidly. Many of our agricultural commodities are integral to the global food system. The system is so interlocked that disruption to one link in the chains have another staggering effect on the other. Farmers who rely on migrant workers are badly affected. Since they rely heavily on foreign workers, they have to struggle to secure enough labor due to the travel ban imposed by supplying countries. This labor shortage is further compounded by the virus spreading among existing workers. Nevertheless, there is no rainbow without rain. The plantations and commodities sector seem to weather these challenges and has resumed its operation and maintained its position as one of the Malaysia's key economic drivers. In the year 2020, the agri-commodity and agri-commodity based products contributed RM 150.5 billion to the total national export income, or 15.34% to the overall total national export income of 980.9 billion, an increase of 17.1% compared to 2019, with a total export of 128.5 billion. Suffice to say, the agriculture sector has always played a pivotal role in Malaysia's economic development. For decades, Malaysia has successfully leveraged these natural treasures by turning them into a long-term national economic backbone and turning them into agri-commodities, pushing our nation to become the country we see today. Recently, the agri-commodity sector was recognized as one of the economic sectors contributing to the country's economic growth during the COVID-19 pandemic. Our task is to ensure that this sector will continue to contribute and grow sustainably. Ladies and gentlemen, sustainability is a complex concept. The most often quoted definition comes from the UN World Commission on Environment and Development. Sustainable development is a development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. For the Malaysian agri-commodity context and status as a developing nation, sustainability might be best defined as the integration of environmental health, social equity, and social vitality to create thriving, healthy, diverse, and resilient communities for this generation and generations to come. Our sustainability practice recognizes how these issues are interconnected and require a systematic approach and an acknowledgement of complexity. Thus, sustainability has always been the central theme of Malaysian economic policy direction through the years, from National Economic Policy NEP in the 1970s, New Economic Model in 2009, and the latest Shared Prosperity Vision 2030. These are to ensure that Malaysia's agri-commodity industries develop sustainably with various initiatives, regulations introduced and implemented to balance environmental health, social equity and economic vitality. I am proud to share that MPIC has also successfully incorporated UN SDGs principles into the soon-to-be launched National Agri-Commodity Policy 2021-2030, or in short the NACP 2030. As we all know, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs) is a global blueprint towards achieving a better and more sustainable future for all. Although the agri-commodity sector could impact each of the 17 SDGs in some way, 5 SDG most pertinent in the context of the NACP 2030 are Goal number 7, Goal 8, Goal 12, Goal 13 and Goal 15. Let me briefly share how these goals were considered as a framework for the NACP 2030. Goal 7, Affordable and Clean Energy. The NACP 2030 ensures access to affordable, reliable, sustainable and modern energy for all. Example, biofuels as a greener source of energy. Goal 8, on the other hand, which focuses on decent work and economic growth, the NACP 2030 promotes sustained, inclusive and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment and decent work for all. Example, ensuring decent work for all in the sector, especially smallholders and foreign workers. Goal 12, on the other hand, focuses on responsible consumption and production. The NACP 2030 ensures sustainable consumption and production patterns. Example, requiring sustainability certification and traceability of products along the value chain. Goal 13, Climate Action. The NACP 2030 is formulated as one of the urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts. Example, contributing towards the reduction of the greenhouse gas emissions through effective waste management, including utilization of biomass as part of the circular economy. And finally, on Goal 15, Life on Land, this goal is essential as it is about the balance of land management and the human needs towards ensuring sustainability in the economy's growth. The NACP 2030 has also adopted the principle of Shared Prosperity Vision 2030. Shared Prosperity Vision 2030 or Wawasan Kemakmuran Bersama 2030 is a commitment to make Malaysia a nation that achieves sustainable growth and fair and equitable distribution across all income groups, ethnicities, regions and supply chains. The commitment is to strengthen political stability, enhance the nation's prosperity and ensure that the Rakyat is united while celebrating ethnic and cultural diversity as the nation state's foundation. 3 objectives are targeted, which are development for all, addressing wealth and income disparities, and united, prosperous and dignified nation. The NACP 2030 formulation also covers the 12th Malaysian Plan, which is the primary framework for national development planning for the year 2021 until 2025, which emphasizes shared prosperity initiative encompassing 3 dimensions, namely economic empowerment, environmental sustainability and social engineering. Therefore, it will drive the long-term direction of the agri-commodity sector, which includes boosting productivity, identifying new commodity sectors and products that can be a game changer as well as a catalyst for COVID-19 post-epidemic economic recovery. The 12th Malaysian Plan, currently in the final phase of preparation, will be launched soon. Allow me to go through with all of you the 5 policy thrusts of the NACP 2030 that reflect the agri-commodity sector's desired outcomes in particular and national priorities and commitments. The first thrust is to lead sustainable production and consumption across the value chain. The The NACP 2030 balances the trade-off between developing the agri-commodity sector and protecting the environment. Strategies will support green growth and place sustainability at the forefront of the agri-commodity agenda, including ensuring certification and traceability across the whole value chain. The second thrust focuses on accelerating productivity through R&D and C, innovation and technology application. The reality is that agricultural land for expansion is limited, and for some commodities has experienced declining of the planted area. A related concern is labor productivity to mitigate over-reliance on cheap foreign labor, especially for 3D or rather difficult, dirty and dangerous jobs. Public-private partnership will be prioritized to develop viable technology solutions that increases yield and productivity, improve working conditions for the workforce and expand adoption of mechanization and automation across both upstream and downstream. The third thrust focuses on intensifying value creation through new product applications, product diversity and increased complexity. Malaysia's competitiveness lies in a higher value added, lower volume downstream activities in niche areas. Malaysia is now known for its strong manufacturing capabilities and matured value chain. Therefore, we should use these as our trump card in ensuring competitiveness and market access. Further opportunities include expansion into agri-commodity related services, including digital technologies. The next thrust of the NACP 2030 is to expand markets by leveraging the global supply chain. As a trading nation, Malaysia is very much part of the worldwide supply chain. While agri-commodity exports have remained stable, there are always risks, whereby existing market may cease to import Malaysian products, whether due to cheaper available products or low producing countries. Issues such as sustainability and workers' welfare, diversifying export products and needs will help hedge against these risks. The final thrust of the NACP 2030 aims to increase inclusiveness and ensure fairer wealth distribution. The agri-commodity sector has historically played a key role in poverty eradication or reduction through the smallholder development model. Two other groups which will also be prioritized: the Bumiputra community and the entrepreneurs of the small and medium enterprises who are underrepresented in the midstream and downstream agri-commodity segments value chain. In short, the NACP 2030 emphasizes the dual objective in developing the agri-commodity sector in Malaysia: sustainability and prosperity. All agri-commodity industry players, from large corporations to smallholders and workers, must share and benefit from the wealth and prosperity created. But this prosperity must not come at the cost of environment, nor the sector's future viability and the people involved in it. Ladies and gentlemen, a key challenge for the agri-commodity sector is to meet the demand of an increasing global population, while at the same time reducing the environmental impact and preserving natural resources for future generations. We acknowledge without a doubt that agriculture does have significant effects on the environment. While the media will usually hike up the issue of deforestation or pollution and degradation of soil, water and air, agriculture can also positively impact the environment, for instance by trapping greenhouse gases within crops and soils, or mitigating flood risks through the adoption of certain farming practices. Since the Rio Summit 1992, Malaysia has taken crucial steps and measures in balancing trade and sustainability. Malaysia has been committed to ensuring that at least 50% of the land area are under forest cover. Currently, the total area under forest cover in Malaysia is 55.3%. In retrospect, Malaysia has also voluntarily agreed to cut the GHG emission intensity by 45% by 2030 relative to the emission intensity GDP in 2005 as part of its commitment to COP21. As of 2013, Malaysia has achieved a 33% reduction. Malaysia is proud to be one of the world leaders in sustainable palm oil production. The Malaysian government through MPIC is replicating the various environmental measures in palm oil cultivation, which has successfully uplifted the lives of rural communities to other agri-commodity sectors. One of the measures taken by MPIC is the introduction of the Malaysian Sustainable Palm Oil Certification or MSPO in 2015 and making it mandatory starting from January 2020. MPIC views that the MSPO certification scheme as the key to the Amsterdam Declaration, which requires all oil palm shipped into Europe to be certified as sustainably produced by 2020. The MSPO certification scheme aims towards ensuring Malaysian palm oil is sustainably produced and safe for consumption. It also seeks to reduce the industry's social and environmental impacts and help independent and smallholders certify their palm oil for the export market. The certification ensures the country's palm oil industry complies with all international sustainability requirements that encompass the whole supply chain from growers and millers to traders and retailers. To lead the way in sustainable production and consumption across the value chain, MPIC sets a target to maintain at least 95% planted area are certified under the MSPO certification scheme. Malaysian Palm Oil Certification Council (MPOCC) came into operation in October 2015. Since then, MPOCC has been monitoring and reporting the palm oil planted certified MSPO. Currently, the certification of palm oil plantation area under MSPO has achieved 88%, which cover 5.1 million hectares. Due to the rising demand for sustainably produced commodity products globally, Malaysia emphasizes expanding sustainability efforts that complement the coordinated national stance on land use and environmental conservation. To reinforce this goal, efforts will be intensified in increasing the productivity of the commodity in the limited land available for plantation so that Malaysia can fulfill the obligation of maintaining 50% forest cover. The agri-commodity sector will also focus more on new initiatives such as utilization and optimization of idle agricultural land, adoption in good agricultural practices or GAP, and product certification scheme, especially the Malaysian Sustainable Palm Oil Certification. These are to ensure that the growth of commodity crops align to the national sustainable development policies. As a commitment to conserve and manage its forest reserves, MPIC encourages sustainable forest management or SFM through forest certification, which among others include the Malaysian Timber Certification Scheme MTCS, Program for the Endorsement of Forest Certification PEFC, and other internationally recognized schemes. These schemes continuously support the trade in timber and timber products that use wood originating from sustainable and legal sources, which take into account the environmental, social and economic aspects of SFM. As of 22nd October 2020, we have 5.14 million hectares MTC certified forest areas endorsed by the PEFC scheme. In addition to this, Malaysia has established its Timber Legality Assurance System across the region, known as Timber Legality Assurance System for Peninsula or MyTILAS, Sabah Timber Legality Assurance System Sabah TILAS, and Sarawak Timber Legality Verification System or STLVS. MPIC focuses on putting sustainable policies and practices in the agri-commodity sector, as many countries are gearing towards sustainable development. For instance, the European Union actively promotes sustainability in its law, particularly within the value chain. The European Green Deal is the EU's strategy towards a modern, resource-efficient and competitive economy with no net emission of greenhouse gases in 2050. The EU Commission presented an initial roadmap in December 2019 of the key policies and measures needed to achieve the European Green Deal. These include boosting European industry competitiveness, ensuring a just transition for the regions and workers affected, preserving the natural environment and biodiversity of Europe, a farm-to-fork strategy for sustainable food, and a new circular economy action plan. All EU actions and policies will have to contribute to the European Green Deal objectives. As you all know, the EU Green Deal brings Malaysia to a stage where it hinders trading businesses. However, the European Union is one of Malaysia's most significant trading partners. I would like to bring to your attention that MPIC played an important role in mitigating this issue on behalf of the Malaysian government. We have urged the EU to observe the principles of fairness, transparency and non-discrimination in the formulation of its legislative, including regulatory and non-regulatory measures and proposals. This is to safeguard and ensure a global level playing field for international trading of commodities. We have also urged the EU to consider the significant progress achieved by Malaysia sustainable palm oil production plus forest and biodiversity conservation efforts. Even though this industry is facing criticism, Malaysia will stand firm on its commitments to show the world this industry will remain highly sustainable. Malaysia is trying its best to balance developing the industry and protecting the environment in line with the national and international standards. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in the middle of the fourth industrial revolution, or IR 4.0. It is characterized by a fusion of technologies blurring the lines between the physical, digital and biological spheres. We are indeed standing on the brink of a technological revolution that will fundamentally alter how we live, work and relate to one another. Due to the fourth industrial revolution, many countries have initiated different national plans towards a new industrial revolution. Malaysia has launched the National Policy on Industry 4.0 or Industry Forward to increase Malaysia's competitiveness. The Industry Forward is a pivotal step as Malaysia seeks to strengthen its ongoing structural reforms to become a developed, equitable, sustainable and inclusive nation. Technology is the key enabler for Industry 4.0, undoubtedly has a tremendous influence on agri-commodity. However, how can it apply to the plantation industries and commodities such as palm oil, rubber, timber, cocoa, or pepper? Take palm oil for instance. The palm oil industry has always been a significant contributor to the Malaysian economy after the electrical and electronic sector. According to the Department of Statistics Malaysia, DOSM, total exports of Malaysian palm oil and palm-based products in 2020 generated 73.2 billion ringgit revenue, or 48.68% of the total export of commodity and commodity-based products. Besides palm oil and its downstream derivatives in 2020 has been Malaysia's single largest commodity earner, contributing about 3.6% or to a value of 48.3 billion to Malaysia's gross domestic product. Thus, to progress while remaining globally competitive and relevant, the palm oil industry must adopt and equip itself with technologies and innovation. Aligned towards Industry 4.0 and the effort to protect the environment and promote sustainability, the Malaysian government is committed to using green technology. Green technology is the emerging technology in sustainable livelihood and poverty alleviation by reducing environmental risks and ecological scarcities, carbon emissions and pollution, and enhancing energy and resource efficiency and preventing the loss of biodiversity ecosystem services in Malaysia. As I have mentioned earlier in my speech, Malaysia has been promoting sustainable oil palm cultivation through enforcing the Malaysian Sustainable Palm Oil Certification Scheme and developing sustainable green technology comparable to many other countries. There is a link between MSPO and Industry 4.0. Through its 7 principles, MSPO addresses the environmental, social and economic aspects of palm oil production, cultivation and processing methods, protecting forests and wildlife, safeguarding workers' welfare and safety, and providing a living wage. On the other hand, Industry 4.0 also addresses many issues concerning businesses, including the environment, health and safety of the workforce, waste management, efficiency in managing supply chains, resources and delivery systems. The growth potential is limitless, but all boils down to the knowledge of the application. For instance, Sciendabi has built a pilot mill with several sensors, controllers and a near-infra spectrophotometer. This plant also incorporates supervisory control and data acquisition technology, which is presently not widely used in palm oil mill and will bring the industry up to 3.0 and potentially Industry 4.0 level. Next, the government will ensure the Malaysian rubber industry aggressively continues R&D in continuously enhancing the latex harvesting technology to help develop innovative systems to ensure the sustainability of the Malaysian rubber industry. Overall, the significance of IR 4.0 in agri-commodity for all commodities, especially in the plantation area, reduces our dependency on foreign labor. However, we acknowledge that this is not an easy feat at all. Thus, as a part of our way forward to align with this revolution, we will encourage the private sector to increase automation and mechanization in the plantation, leading to increased productivity and reduced dependence on low-skilled workers. The initiative to support these strategies, as stated in our National Policy on Industry 4.0, are accelerate the readiness and adoption of IR 4.0 by providing effective training to smallholders and accelerate the transfer of new technology directly to research and development through collaboration with research institutions. I firmly believe if all the efforts shown by each of the commodity sectors in support of those strategies would enable the agri-commodity industry to move into Industry 4.0 and along the way contribute to fulfilling Malaysia's commitment to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. To conclude, as a sector that accounts for 6.3% of the gross domestic product, we are responsible for ensuring that its relevance and sustainability are undiminished. Moving towards Industry 4.0, this is an opportunity for Malaysia to develop the future plantation industries and commodities. Ladies and gentlemen, Malaysia practices an open door policy to work with international fora, government agencies, academicians, research institutes, industry players and businesses to ensure the agri-commodity industry develop progressively and sustainably. We also realize that we have to work with many stakeholders, harnessing the potential of ICTs in Industry 4.0, especially in the automation and mechanization in the plantation. This transformation will not take effect unless we take the first step, and our strategy has to be right. I hope this International Plantation Conference will be a regular platform to continuously empower the management of plantation and commodities at the national and international level through its objectives. Also wish to take this opportunity to record my sincere gratitude towards the joint effort by the organizer, co-organizers agencies and all participants to make this conference a success. With this, I hereby launch the second International Plantation Conference, and I wish you all a successful deliberation. Thank you.
Sawit, nama yang cukup berharga. Minyak diperolehi, didagangkan ke dunia. Minyak sawit penuh nutrisi. Ketahanannya pasti di suhu tinggi. Kini tampil mampan berkualiti. Inilah sawit penuh keunggulan. Inilah sawit anugerah Tuhan.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are proud to announce the winners of the Best Paper Award. The first paper is entitled Cadmium Uptake by Coconut Palm and its Absorption on Soil in Ionic Medium by Muhammad Khalid Fatima Nadisha, Coconut Research Institute, Sri Lanka, Anoma Janaki Mohoti, Faculty of Agriculture, University of Peradeniya, Sri Lanka, and Namal Priyanta, Faculty of Science, University of Peradeniya, Sri Lanka. The second paper is entitled Phytochemical Screening and Antioxidant Activity of Melastoma malabathriacum and Chromolena odorata by DPPH Radical Scavenging Method by Nurul Hana Ismail, Nur Amira Hamid, Wan Zuraida Wan Muhammad Zain, Siti Nur Anisah Ani, Faculty of Plantation and Agrotechnology, University Technology Mara, Cawangan, Melaka, Malaysia, and Siti Nur Hajar Mat Latif, Faculty of Plantation and Agrotechnology, University Technology Mara, Shah Alam, Malaysia. And last but not least is a paper entitled The Contents Availability of N, P, K, NMG in empty fruit composting of all palms with symbiont bacteria from Rhinoceros beetle larvae by Febrianti Sari Dewi Sitanggang, Marhani and Jonathan Ginting, Faculty of Agriculture, Universitas Sumatra Utara, Indonesia. Congratulations to all winners.